Hello and welcome to one more day of live coding Python cards. My name is Victor Lopez, and today we're going to continue building the platform that will help you learn Python using spaced repetition. Today, I want to build the ability on the platform to handle multiple decks. We have multiple decks with cards organized by topic, but then we want to allow users to choose which ones they are learning and how they are learning them. For example, you might want to pause the learning of one deck and in favor of another one, or you may want to change how many new cards you learn every day. So that's what we're going to build today. As usual, we're going to do some test-driven development, so I will write some tests before, and then we will see if we can finish all of this implementation in a single sitting. So first of all, the way I see that we're going to handle this in the UI is from the daily study view. So this is the page that you will visit every day when you get an email that reminds you that you need to learn some new cards. And because we don't have the concept of users and we don't have the concept of logging in and setting having settings and so on, we're going to use this view, which has this random address as a way of keeping it private. And we will add a table below this button to show you the decks that you're currently subscribed to and the ones that you might want to subscribe in addition to what you're doing. So let's just start defining the UI that we want to support, and then we will see how we can implement this in the backend and how we can have some tests for this stuff and so on. So let's go to the study template, this HTML file. We have this start daily study button here, and this is only shown if it's not started. We want to have some kind of div that is also shown only if it hasn't started, right? So it would be show equals not started. Not started or and this thing. So if you are done, I think there's also some kind of view somewhere where it says nothing to do today. When you are done, maybe you want to also review some more cards. So we might want to add that also later, but let's start with this here. Let's write something like hello. Okay, we are here. So here, let's have margin top 12. Let's add some and margin bottom too. So let's do margin Y. Okay, and here we need to start tailwind so we get some extra classes. Okay, so here we want to have a table with the decks, right? Table. Let's see if Copilot has something to say. Card, due time. Okay, this is nice. This is nice, but because this is a debug table that I wrote probably up here, so it's probably copied it from somewhere. But this is not what we want. This is the summary of the cards that we're going to review today, and that's not what we're looking for. Let's do an mx auto to put this table in the middle, and let's have here deck. The things that we could have is the deck, the progress that you have done through this deck. Then we could have the new cards per day. And then we would have some actions like pause or something like that. Let's see that, how that goes. And now here, we're going to show all of the decks. But let's see, before we're in the session detail view, this is where we are. We need to add the decks to this. We need to add the decks to to this view. So let's put the deck objects all. Let's see what we have with there, and then we'll probably need to add some more data and whatnot. So for deck index, we will create a table, row, which might have, it will have the deck.name, I guess. Okay, so here we have the deck.name. That's cool. I think we want to make the text aligned to the left. And we have this class that adds some spacing that is helpful. So we have the pathlib in depth. Let's put it here too. Okay. So we have the deck, the progress, the new cards per day. For the new cards per day, we want to put an input. That's perfect. An input that should have a value of, let's see. Let's see what value it has. It might have a 4. Okay. Then the actions, this could be a button. So the progress, let's put, 0 out of 122, for example. So that's how advanced you are, so how many cards you have reviewed so far. And the actions, I was thinking of adding a button, like start. We could have start, we could have a pause button, button, reset. Copilot is very helpful for these things. We could say pause. Okay, so these ones, I think I prefer them to be a little bit like this. Same for the input. What is this input? This input is pretty, it has some padding or something. Where is this padding coming from? With okay, it's the style that we are following. Let's have padding top 0.5. Yeah, let's have a padding Y1. That's better. So, and let's have some more padding, I guess. 3. Does that work? Or that doesn't work? What is going on? Okay. 3, 3, 3. Okay, and the actions, well, we might want to remove this. Then I'd like to have some borders here. How do you get tailwind, table, border below each row? How do you do that? Bottom border of table row. Who says? Does someone explain to you how border collapse to your table? So I forgot about this border collapse thing. So here, let's make it, how does it have the table? Border gray. What? Border gray 900. Class equals, do you have to set the border in the row or in the cell? Border gray 900. How do you put borders in Tailwind? Okay, border. Okay, no, that's right. So border, and you, if you do border separate, you have the separate things. If you do border collapse, that's when that works. Okay, so we have this thing here. That's cool, but we want border bottom, right? I don't know if that works. Border bottom. Tailwind border bottom. Border B4. B1, I guess. What? Or plus border. Meh. Why is that? Border B4. Okay. If I remember this, if I remove this, okay. And border B1, why didn't this work? Is 1 too small? Okay, I don't know why border B1 doesn't exist. Oh, border B. Okay, border B. Perfect. So let's leave this here. If we add these extra lines, it will make it easier to copy paste. So let's copy this thing here. Copy, paste, cut, copy, paste, cut, and wait. Copy, paste, cut, this thing. Okay, and then we need to do the same for the header, I guess. Okay, paste this here. This is a T8, so copy, paste, 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 cut, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait. Oh, man. What am I doing? Okay. So basically we want to add this thing here. Let's remove this extra space. We want to add this thing here. So here, 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 and here. Oh man, here. What's it? Alt, paste. Okay. That's cool. We might want to disable this thing here. When this is paused, we are going to disable it here. And when we hover, we might want to show continue or something like that. We could have a status, right? Status learning, and then we could say pause. We could also have a separate button that is purchase. Let's see if this guy purchase. For purchase, we could have the stripe color, right? Stripe button color. What? Strap checkout button. What? I think we'll have to go to the actual, this one here. Okay, so the idea is that some of these decks are going to be paid, right? So we could have here style background color is this one here. So we could say okay, and then we have here text white. Is that what is it? Color white? How do you say? Tailwind text color white. Text color text white. Text white. So this is text white should be. It's not working. Let's remove these background colors. Well, this one here, maybe we have like a similar color. Tailwind background color. If we find a similar background color, this is, I guess you, like some designer might be screaming at me, like this is not what you do. But we could say, which one is similar to this one here? Is it this one here, I guess? Violet, 800, more or less. Violet 800, Violet 900. And here we have text gray. Let's put 100 or 50 instead of text white. Okay. Purchase. What if we put 100? Does that look good still or not? It doesn't look bad. Okay, so we could purchase. Purchase. Roll. Start. We could have some tags also here next to deck. We could have oh man, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm misclicking everything. So here we could have this thing here, and we could have a new where it says like a, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll 100% redo this front end. But you can get an idea of what we're doing, right? So we could have new cards per day. This is free. We have this in the I had an old dex.html. View that is not being used anymore. And here we had some stuff. So instead of free, let's put these things here. Okay, coming soon. Okay, that makes sense. So this one is coming. These two are coming soon. So if they are coming soon, we can probably disable this input, for example. So if deck is not ready, if deck ready, okay, this one is disabled, but we want to make it even gray, right? And of course we would want to, okay, if ready, we display it. If not ready, we make it disabled. It's disabled in the sense that you don't have to, you cannot click it. I want to make it gray. Make input disabled gray. Gray out. Gray out, gray out, gray out. Tailwind, gray out input. Outline color. Outline. Is it the outline, really? Or is it the border that we want to... border. Blue. Okay. So we could make it gray. 200. 400. 300. Okay, and we could make it text, gray, 300. 400. Okay, that looks disabled now. That definitely looks disabled. So now we know that this is coming soon, and you cannot do anything, right? If it's not ready, there are no actions to take. So let's, if ready, we want to have all of these buttons. Probably we will only want to have one button, but if it's not ready, you cannot do anything yet. So coming soon, coming soon. You might want to check the videos. So I have these videos on YouTube, right? So we could link to the video on YouTube, for example. Let's have this. Do we really want to do that? So I have this. Playlists, right? So we could link to this playlist here. So the one playlist is building the Python.cards pathlib. So we could link it makes sense to link to these videos, right? This playlist could have the first video could be like a presentation of what the deck is. So or we could also have like we could also make it clickable, so then there's like a drop down or something is displayed, and there you can see the video introduction and so on. Yeah, I think I will do that probably. So we can have like a video introduction, you click and you see, so know more about this. We also have a description, right, for the deck. So we could have a show more kind of link, and then we display more stuff below this. Okay, so more or less we have this coming soon. We could also have let's see what we had in the dex.html. We had this price stuff. So if the price is 0, it says free. I had this progress, right? Now that I think of. So let's see what's in this progress. Because this is something I already started to build some similar things some time ago. Okay. Invalid block. That's because we are using cards extra. Load code static cards extra ID. Oh, because cards extra so cards extra doesn't work that way. It's not request.user. Let's request.user. Let's make it session.user. Integer division by or modulo by 0. So let's go to the extra things here. Deck.progress. Cards models. Progress. Okay. Let's say if is there an empty thing? return 0. No. If count, return this thing. Else, or okay, now let's do what Copilot wanted us to do, right? If this is like that, return 0. Wait, Control F5. Okay, learning 0%, learning 33%, learning. Okay, it's more or less fine, but I don't really. Learning 0%. I mean, I don't like this style so much. I don't like the style so much. So the progress, this progress is a percentage, right? Def and reviewing. Let's have this thing better. Okay, so what is the number of reviewing cards? Return this thing. So this is the number of cards that we are reviewing, right? So here, let's make so deck and reviewing, and this is the end reviewing. So now we have this extra tag, and here we can show how many this user is actually reviewing. So we could say deck and reviewing deck session.user out of the number of cards. I guess it's a deck dot cards set or card set dot count, something like that. Oh, did we already have this? No, we didn't have this. Okay, so this is clearly not perfect. How is it? How can this be 0? Path lib in depth, and this be 1. How is that possible? Let's go to the admin. I said we were going to do some test-driven development, and I think we are not doing that because we are just coding stuff here, but this is very, very, very straightforward thing. So, okay, cards. Do you have any card for Padlib in depth? Yes. This card is from Padlib. Well, let's check the decks. Padlib in depth is this one. It's deck 4. And if we check the cards, there's only 4 cards. And this one is built-ins, nomenclature, nomenclature, nomenclature. So there's none in Padlib in depth, which is correct. Then when we check this and reviewing, okay, but then we need to filter. Instead of doing this, card study.object.filter. Oh, no, like this is like the total number. This is incorrect. Oh, because we assume this is one problem that we are trying to fix today, right? We assume that that there's a single deck, or like we don't have this distinction of what the different decks mean for different so cards belonging to different decks and so on. So this is clearly wrong, this progress thing. Oh, no. Okay, no, this one is correct. What is not correct is this one here. So let's say we want to filter the card studies where the ID is in all of these cards. So this is like we want to make this like a query. We want to make the right SQL query for this thing. And this is a bit tricky in Django. I never remember this syntax, but let's try to make it right. Or let's try to use this guy here. So take all the count all the card study objects that have status card study dot reviewing from all the card study objects that are that have a card foreign key in self dot card set. That's what we want, right? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And that is, it seems more correct. There's 0, 0, 1 out of 3, 0, 1, 0, 0. Okay, so this progress thing, I think it's completely broken, so let's remove it. Let's remove this thing. We might want to see, well, the number of cards we already have. Deck subscription model for its user. A deck subscription could be active, inactive, or paused. We should have a single view to manage all of this. This will be an email link. We already have this here. So the good thing is that we're already making some progress. So this progress part is already done. This, like the list of decks is correct. And then we need to handle, we also have this kind of labels, which is good. And then we have this, well, if it's free, if it's paid, let's put that too, because we already have this, even though this will probably change, we have this price and stuff. This probably we can take from here. Here it says free. So if the price is 0, ready, if ready, else, if the price is 0, then we say free. And if. Okay, so these ones are free. Let's make the pathlib in depth paid, so we can have this different. So from my point of view, $9.99 would be a more than fair price. So if the price is 0, we say free, else, let's put the price here. So this will be, I think I'm deck dot price $9.99. And let's make this blue and blue. $9.99. Okay. Okay, so I think $9.99 is a good price for this thing, for learning pathlib for the rest of your life. Dump it to your brain, get your daily emails and so on. Okay, so we have this thing here. So this is working. This is correct. The deck, this is correct. This is correct. We could... Oh my God, let's make it clickable, okay? Let's make it clickable because we want to show more stuff. Let's work on the UI. We will get to the backend and do the unit testing and stuff, but let's make it clickable. So there's this thing here, which will not work. So there's this details thing in HTML, details, summary, and so on, which is this tag. Yeah, here we have it, which automatically, you know, shows a stuff. Let's see if we have using HTML detail in table. Can we use it inside a table? Let's run this code snippet. Details. Yeah, but this is not what we want, right? It's just more info. This is not what we want. Header. Because the content is inside of the same place. So we'll have to do something else. This is very similar to what we were doing the other day for the cards view, right? We had this thing that is clickable and so on. So what we can do is we can go back to this guy here. So let's make the title clickable and let's have a... We want to have this button that is toggled also. So let's see, I want to make it obvious that this is clickable, right? So this is a cursor pointer and we can have on click, we can have this thing. On click, let's have a class and let's have an on click. And we can find the deck.id toggle hidden. Cursor. I lost that somewhere. Okay, and let's have this caret. What's it called? Caret. Character. No, not the caret. Like HTML triangle character. Geometric shapes. We want to have this thing here. Is that what we want? There's the small one too. Is this the big one or the small? That's like the big one, right? So we want to show this. We could maybe even add space. Okay, so if we click this, span ID equals deck.id symbol. Is that how we want to call it? So when you click it, we want to toggle between one and the other, right? So let's call it symbol 1, triangle 1, and triangle 2. The triangle 2 is the one that is pointing down. So it is this one here. My God, triangle right, triangle down. the one that is pointing up and the one that is pointing down. Okay, and this one here, the one that is pointing down, is hidden. Class equals hidden. Okay, so now we do this thing, this toggle. Okay, I know this is like all triangle down and triangle right. Triangle right. Deck. Triangle right. Triangle down. Hidden. Toggle. Why is this not working? On click. Is that considered a click? Is there some error message? Okay. Okay, document element by ID. So we have to also have this other element. Let's have this other element. So this element is the card blah blah blah, which is this one here, and we want to have this deck.id, call span 1 2 3 4 5, and here we can have, you know, hello world. Let's see. Okay, now this is working. This looks good. So the triangle is working. We're hiding and showing the triangle, and then we toggle this thing here. So what do we want to display? We want to display the description. So the deck.description for one. We don't want this blue thing. This is for the... Okay. Let's undo this. We want this. We do want the call span 2. That's good. So we have this call span. We want to put this in the text left. We don't want to make it centered. You know, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool writing HTML. HTML is so fun. Like I really like it because you have this, you know, this super fast feedback, which you just very quickly see what the result. It's so cool. Okay, so we have this description, and then we want to have the video, right? So let's have a video in dex.html. Sorry, in cards models. Let's have a URL. Let's have a video URL equals this thing. So let's git Python.cards. So now we make migrations. It's a very simple migration. So this is migrated. And now we can add for the ones that we have. So for example, I want to add some videos in my channel for like not only building the deck, but just like presenting the deck. So not like a short video of presenting the deck, but okay, now the issue is that how do you embed the video? Is that the actual URL that you want to embed the video? I'm not sure. So let's copy this thing here, and we want to put the video here if there is a video, that is. So because this one here Yeah, it has the same, it is this same ID, right, that you want to embed. So how do we do that? How do we do that? What if I don't put a title? So here, okay, we have this video. Now, with 100%, we don't want to have with, oh, because this one has all these classes that we don't want to have. Okay, now that is 50%. That I like. And then this description should be safe, because otherwise we're writing. What did we see before? We had like a paragraph, right? Oh no, the paragraph was in the this one here. So we make it safe, and that way we can see the nomenclature has 2 paragraphs and so on. And then here it's if we have the video. So let's change this. Instead of having the video URL, let's have a YouTube video ID, which is a char field. So now we'll need to make, git them manage main migrations migrate. Okay. So now this deck that we modified will have to take only this thing here. Save. So now this just has an ID, and here we want to say is deck.youtube video ID. And that's also only if deck YouTube video ID, of course. End if. Okay, so now this one, which is the one that has a video, it will display it, and the others will not display it. Now the problem we have is, again, with what we had in the other day of this, like the fixed thing, like this is messing with the actual layout of this table. And the other thing that we didn't manage yet is also how does this look like on a phone, because we expect most of the people, right, to access the daily study through their phone, right? So if you are accessing this through your phone, how are you going to display this table in a way that makes sense? That we'll need to work on too. This thing, wait, this thing got broken, probably because we didn't close something. Oh, table. Okay. So this thing looks good on the phone, but if we try to see this table, definitely doesn't look good on the phone. So we will have to work on that too. Okay, so now we have this where we display the description, and we have this video, right? Or we explain where you can see what this deck is about. So that is good. Nomenclature, built-ins, these don't have anything. Why the term of the start on the standard library? Okay, it has some stuff too. Okay, so that's cool. The way of fixing this table stuff is to use table fixed. So now, if we have table fixed, is that right? This shouldn't break the This shouldn't break the what's full? Is that full? Is it full what we want? If we have it like this, now this thing works, right? It doesn't break the, but still. So this is a grid. How does this work? If this is a grid. Maybe this is even better, right? That we have this video. Maybe max width we could have an 700. So this is not so big. Yeah, I think I like it even better without the. There's no need for this grid. Why do we need to have it side by side? It doesn't work for responsive if we are being responsive. And yeah, so let's have this div class equals, py12 div. So we have some even p12. So we have some space. Let's try to make this work. Okay, p12. Okay, let's make this better. So this is how we are setting the spacing, and then let's add a couple new lines, like old school spacing, and probably that is enough, right? Okay, let's add one more, and this is enough. So here we have description, and in others we have just this description here. This one is a paragraph, I guess, so it's better. And let's make this have a border too. So we have this clear separation of what goes below. Okay, very good, very good, very good, very good. We have this spacing here that I guess is because of the paragraph. Oh, these 3 new lines. Oh, wait. The new lines were if there is a video. Not in all cases. So the built-ins don't have all this much space. So this is a paragraph that has margin top of 1 rem. So we might want to have also this margin bottom. So let's do padding bottom 5. So this is padding bottom 5. Let's make it padding bottom 6 and padding top 3, and that's it. Okay. That looks good. And here, let's make it padding bottom 8. So that looks even better. Okay, so now we have this table, which is fixed. We have all of this stuff. What happens if we remove the fixed thing and we make it auto again? Because now we're going to only have one. We still have only one cell. Okay, is that fixing something? Yeah, that looks good. It doesn't mess with the layout. Okay, so now I like this thing. So we are able to show the decks. We can show the progress. Of course, there's no progress if there are no new cards, if it is coming soon. So let's make that also gray, right? So the progress, where do we have the progress? Well, the progress is the third column. So new cards per day. So this one, we could say if not deck.ready, then let's make this text gray 400. Okay, so now this is coming soon, so it's obvious that you cannot yet have any progress and you cannot have new cards per day, but we can already know what this is coming, what this is going to be. Okay, this does mess the layout. I don't know why. Okay, so what else? What else? We have the title, we have the description, we have this one path in depth doesn't have as much spacing because we didn't put everything inside a paragraph. Save. Okay, so we have the title of the deck, we have the price, the progress of the user, which is the real progress of the user. We already had something to calculate this. And now we need to track the cards per day. For that, in order to have this parameter, we're going to modify our models. So here we'll have to create a deck subscription, class deck subscription, which probably Copilot will also help us with. Let me take a quick break. I will be right back and we continue implementing this deck subscription. Okay, I'm back. Let's see what Copilot made for us. So in this deck subscription, for example, let's have a simple created, modified. Why not? It's helpful, it comes for free. We have a user and a deck. Okay. And then we can have new cards per day, for example. Could be an integer field that we want to have. Integer field. Default 5, for example. Let's try and manage main migrations. Migrate. So now the thing is, we want to connect this deck subscription with these inputs here, right? How can we do that? Is with a so I'm thinking. So there's some changes here that will affect our daily study. For example, if we start or pause one of these decks, we would want to refresh this page, right? But changing the number of new cards per day doesn't seem like one of these things. So let me see also the fact that when you refresh this number is do not save number input value. How do you not preserve autocomplete off? Autocomplete off. Value blank. Value equals 4. What if we put a form here? Well, this is when this is, sorry, this is when this is disabled. If we have a form that has this thing here, slash form, it has a 4, 7, 8, 4, 4. Interesting. Or if I remove this form, oh, because this is actually, yeah, it's actually applying to all of the fields. So here, if we do that, it is updated. That's good. So what were we talking about? We want to change this new cards per day. The problem is that what effect does that have? So you have, if you put 10 cards per day, then what? You refresh the page, and does the number of, does the daily study update? And then you could say, learn 5 more cards. We could, once it changes this, have a message here, a link that says refresh today's study, for example, with this value, right? And that might trigger the addition of more new cards and so on. Anyway, let's we will handle that later, but we're going to do something else first. Or we could have a max value. So we could have a max value. Max equals 10. Is that the correct thing to say? Okay, let's put a 20. So you have a maximum of 20 new cards per day. Okay. Yeah, we could control this from the back. I mean, we're going to control this from the backend too, right? But not in the model. We're going to do this in the view. So anyway, the point is, every time you click here, we want to update the number of new cards for this deck. And we're going to do that. We're going to start with the tests. This is going to be very similar to the feedback tests. Let's call this class deck or deck subscription tests. Okay, so we dev setup self self dot deck equals. What's up with Copilot? Hello, I think I paused this video before and maybe I didn't record. I lost some recording, so let's continue here where I was working on now. I have updated these input fields to have a limit at 20 and to keep the current value with autocomplete equals off. This is the HTML here. I put a form here with autocomplete off. And now I'm working on a test to apply in the model the change of new cards per day. So we are having this test. And this test, what it should do is it should first, well, we need to create a user, right? So let's find how we're creating a user objects.create. Then when we visit the session, we will create a session. Well, there's many things we want to do now. So we should have a deck subscription for its user, which we don't have yet. And then we want to update the new cards per day. So we have to think how we want to implement all of this functionality in the easiest possible way, right? So when is the subscription created? We have this deck subscription here. When is it created? The problem is that we are going to add decks on one side, and we're going to add users, sorry, on the other side. So we're going to do both things at the same time. So how are we going to manage that? The easy way is when you visit a session, this is automatically created. The problem is that we want to have a deck subscription initially for some decks, right? So when you create your user, we want you to be subscribed to some decks by default. So in accounts models, new decks, daily reminders, we're not using this anymore. I think we're using the default users, right? So this is in accounts views. No, this is in cards views. We have the join method. So the join is the one that creates a user, right? Create session if it does not exist. It creates a session. So we want subscribe to a couple decks or to all free decks. All ready and free decks. That's a good measure that we could do, right? So here we can say for deck in filter ready to free equals true. This is not right. It's price equals 0.0. Then we deck subscription dot objects that create. Well, get or create. That's an interesting user deck. Okay, we get or create the deck subscription user deck. New cards per day will be 5 by default, so that works. Now, what we want to do now here in the tests is we want to use the join method. We need to join because otherwise all of this functionality is not going to happen. So what we will do is, what we're trying to do is we will, but we could maybe apply this in the join tests, right? Let's see the join tests. Join. Join. User created, session created, emails sent. What about the decks? What about the decks? So here, are we creating the cards somewhere? The session is created, but I guess it's empty, right? So we need to create some cards. This create cards, I don't like this name. I would say create deck and cards. And cards equals 100. That makes more sense. And the name should be random. I don't know if it needs to be unique. And this one doesn't have to be unique either. And cards answer. So here we could say return deck cards.all. I think that's better, because then you have created all of that. So you can say, okay, deck 1 cards 1 equals this. Okay, and deck 2 cards 2 equals 1. Yeah, but then the deck I want to make one free and the other one not free. So deck 1 dot price 0, deck 1 dot save. Okay, deck free, whatever. So deck free, create deck and cards. Let's have ready, true, and let's have price true. Price 0.0. So let's have deck free has price 0.0 and ready true. Deck paid has price 10.0 and deck coming soon, it can be free 0.0, but it is ready false. Okay, so now we have these 3 decks. And now create decks with different prices and ready statuses. So now the email contains all of this, the session is created, the emails are sent, and now let's check. User to subscribe only to free and ready decks. Okay, the other thing is that this subscription could be active or paused, right? We decided. So another way of seeing this is that you could create all of the objects, but then have them active or not active, right? So let's do that. Let's say active equals Boolean default false. So it's not active. So what we're going to do is we're going to create all of them, get or create dot all, subscribe to all, create subscription to all decks, only to all decks. So get or create, so ds is the deck subscription. If deck dot ready and deck dot price equals, we could have an is free, right? And we return self.price equals 0.0. So we would have in the view if and deck dot is free, or we could even have this as a property, right? Property. And have it as free. If the price is free, if ready and free, then active true. Oh, because DS has this get or create has this thing. So we have get or create because you can press join with the same user twice, and then if the user already existed, you will get another email. So that's the logic behind having this get or create. So we have activated the deck if it's ready and free. So by default, you have joined all the free decks. That's cool. I think it's a good default. And now in the tests, we can see self.assert equal user.deck subscriptions that is deck subscription set dot count is 3. But then if we filter, if we filter deck, or let's say deck free dot deck subscription set dot first dot active, this is true. Something like that. Let's test this thing. Okay, error, indented block. There's a problem here. Oh, because we are. Let's pass this thing. We'll work on that later. Error. Oh, what's happening? What? No such. Okay. So manage, make migrations, manage, migrate. So the issues we have added this field active, which we needed to add. Okay, now we have this error. Deck has no attribute cards. Okay, that's good. That's an actual error. So where do we have these attribute cards? Get response. Okay. Where is this error? If we, I always have this question. Sometimes you have things well. Not the joint test is the one you want to run. Okay, so this one is failing because create deck and cards. Oh, deck.cards. Yeah, so this is not deck.cards. It is deck.card set.all. We run this thing. Now what's the issue? Oh my god, I don't like this output at all. I prefer the terminal. So here, okay, unique constraints cards deck name. Okay, so the deck name needs to have a unique name. So let's pick a random name. Plus decks. I don't want to make this global. Let's pick a random name. Random name for deck. Import random string. Okay. So let's make this random.rand int. Oh, and I have to pass these values too. Let's make this big so it works. Format document. Okay, so now what is the issue? JSON. Okay, what is this thing? So is that something? Okay, JSON. Probably we are. The post here, this must be something. What of this content type? I had this issue with a content type the other day. Okay, expecting value minus R was given. This might take, no. expecting value. Test comment. Okay, test comment. That's where we are. What happened here? So the issue is the test comment, which we didn't modify, right? Okay. That's interesting. So comment the card again. JSON data. Let's go to the views. Comment. JSON loads. Print. Request.body. What's going on? Test comment. I think the issue let's get back to this later. Let's get back to this later. To do or fix me. Let's come back to this later. So we have this join test, and we have the deck subscription that is working. So there's three, only one is active. Well, not only one is active yet. So the paid, is or assert true, right? And then assert false, I guess. This one is not active, and this one is not active. One because it's coming soon, and the other one not deck free. So the paid and the coming soon. Sorry. Oh my god. Okay. Deck paid. That's the test. True, false, false. That's what should happen. So when a user joins, he will join the decks that are free and ready and will not join any other deck. So then when you join Python.cards, by default, you will be subscribed to all of this. Okay, now, where are we now? Now we are here. You are subscribed to some other you are not subscribed. So would we have a default value that is like a function that does this by default? Use a signal to set the... Yeah, maybe you don't want to... Let's skip that for now. So we could have a signal that made this behavior the default, and then it would happen for whenever we add a new deck and the deck is created, because we can create a deck subscription when you join, but then if we create a deck afterwards, we might want to create it when you are accessing here, right? So let's see. Yeah, but not only that, because then you have the ones that are going from coming soon to ready and so on. So let's see. Let's skip this for now. Okay, so we have this guy who's added when they join. This thing is created. So now we want to change the number of new cards per day. Okay, so let's have a view. We will need a URL for changing this. And we're going to rely on the same, on a very similar card feedback view. Let's have, let's say deck subscriptions view. Okay, so here we're going to say deck, or let's have an int deck ID. Let's say deck slash this new cards slash int and cards per day. New cards per day. So here we're going to include this thing, and we're going to go to views, and we're going to add this view. Class this. And this view is going to be very similar to this one here. But this is not going to be exactly like this. We're going to have the deck subscription object. And we're going to get the session. No, do we need the session? Well, we need the session to get the user, right? How do we get the user here, by the way? The feedback we get from here. Yeah, you use the session basically, well, to get the user and to get the card. Here we're going to get the session to get the user. Get user from session. So we say user equals dot user. We don't if there's a newer session for this user, return 404. Yeah, that's true. Get session, get user from session. So user equals session.user. And now we want to get the deck, right? So this is the deck ID. And then we try to get the deck from get object. So we do the deck slash deck ID. Then we don't need to do any of that. So we get the deck subscription, get or create user deck equals deck 0. So the deck subscription object get or create deck subscription for this user and deck. So here the deck subscription view can do many different things, right? One thing would be set the new cards. So we could say, and this manages for one deck, right? So we could modify this. Instead of having this, we're going to use get parameters. So we're going to have this session, this deck, this, and now we manage the deck. Okay, so let's manage the deck now. We forget about this. Check if new cards per day isn't request.get. That's what I wanted. I don't care about the action. So this is the deck ID, there is no action. There is no post for now. And the deck subscription is deck ID. With Django, once you have some examples, I mean, especially me that I write some Django apps, but it's not like the main thing I do. Once you have some code that does the things that you want to do, it's so easy to build on top of that. So if you're working on an existing app that is well built, or if you try to do the same thing that you did the day before, or that you have done in 2 or 3 different places of the app, you want to build upon that, it's so easy, at least for me. But if you need to start it from scratch, it always takes more time. So now I'm just reusing a lot of the functionality that I had done for the cards. So here, check if new cards is here. So here, oh, wait. What am I doing? So if new cards is in request.get, then we do this integer conversion. This might we can say new cards per day equals, how do you, this is called a clap. I don't know, is it clap or clamp? Python clamp. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's interesting. That's a good one. I didn't know that one. And in NumPy it's called clip. That's interesting. So what I want to do is I want to clamp it, right? This is new cards per day. Let's call this n, just for simplicity. So let's make this n equals minimum of n and max 20. So it's between 20 and 0. So here we say deck subscriptions new cards per day is n, and we save it. So that way we can do this thing, and now we should test this. So we should join first of all. So this guy should join like manually, not email address victor@python.cards. Drop me an email if you like this video. So let's join, let's assert equal, well, I was thinking response dot status code 200. There's one user. So now let's do this thing. Okay, we want self.client.get slash, oh, let's do this. Self.user equals, or user, and self.session equals session objects.first. So now what we can do, this is going to assert, kind of trying to get this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to call session.slug deck ID. This is self.session, self.deck. We're going to create self.deck underscore equals create deck and cards ready 0.0. Deck 1, let's make it deck 1 and deck 2. Let's call deck 1. Well, we're just testing this number, so it doesn't matter. This is .deck. So new cards per day equals 10. Let's self.assert equal, initially self.deck subscription is this thing here. So this self.subscription.new cards per day is 5, and after calling this, it's 10. That's what we want to do. But non-type object doesn't have new cards per day. Do we need to migrate something? I don't think so. Make migrations? No. Okay, we don't need to migrate, but there's a none thing here. So something is none. Is this guy none? Objects.first self.assert equal objects.count. There should be 1. Okay, there's 0. Why are there 0? Create deck and cards. True, price 0. Ready, price, deck. We don't even need to do that. So in the views, which we changed the join view, in the join view, we get or create and we print low Where is the hello? I'm going to open up a terminal. Git Python cards. Manage test. Okay, hello, hello. Good. 0, 1. So what's going on here? Hello, deck.name. Hello deck, random number. That's true, so we are going to save it. So that should exist. So we are creating it here. We're creating a deck subscription. So we're in the test. Here. I don't know why we don't have. Why is this happening before the other thing? So create deck and cards, objects that create deck. Let's print. I don't understand why this is happening. What is the session? I think the join is not working, right? None. Yeah, the join is not working. So response equals print response. Response 302 redirect. Okay, join. And now it says 404. Email address. Whatever. Why? 302. Why is it saying 302? Response redirect. And join / data Okay, the 302 means that it worked. Print self.user. Done. Okay, I just realized what the problem is. So the issue is that I think that I broke the tests the other day without realizing. This is something that is a problem because I should be running the tests more often. So the problem I think comes, well, now I'm talking about so calling post. Now I was thinking, sorry, about this problem here, which I did some content type JSON and so on. So let's get back here. So let's try to run this code, test, and we have this problem. What I find weird here is that we're printing this thing before user. How come we're printing this thing before? User, none. How are we not waiting? Print response. Okay. Response. Maybe. So here we are printing response, user none, response. Response dot content. It is empty. That makes sense. But how come this hello hi email valid? Let's see what's going on now. Hi email valid. Create user. Let's run only this test, because now I'm how do you filter? Django run one test. Now we need to fix this thing. Okay, so this is cards.tests. This thing. Okay. Hi response user none. Okay, so the email is not valid. So validate email is Python.cards not valid? Victor@gmail.com. Hi response email address. Hi email. Hi none. Okay, so we're not parsing the none. We're not parsing this thing here. Content type equals application JSON. Does that work? No, it doesn't work. So what is the issue? Hi none. URLs, models, views, validators. Request.post. How come this is not working? Query dict email address. Oh my god. Address. Oh my god. I can't believe this was the issue. I can't believe this was the issue. Oh my god. Oh my god, so absurd. Oh my god. Anyway, next time. Next time we'll find this earlier. Okay, so new cards per day, 10 is 12. Okay, so now this thing is not working. And that's because we get this thing here, response equals self dot assert equal, let me reload the window again. Copilot is not working. Assert equal response dot status code 200. Do we get a 200? No, we get a 404. So what is the deck? Self.deck.id, self.session.slug. What is self.session? Let's self.assert not assert is not none, self the user. Self.session assert is not none, is not none, is not none, desk subscription. Okay. 404. Why do we get a 404? Do we have any other message? Because when we do 404, can you send a hello? Can you do that? We put that like the first thing that happens. 404 hello. Let's print the response. Response not found. Doesn't have any text. So it seems like this doesn't work. Okay, so now what is the issue? We should get we have the session.slug, we have the deck ID, and new cards per day equals 10. Are we even hitting the URL? Maybe we're not. Slug deck integer. Slug deck integer. Oh, because this is going before the action. Okay. This thing to do. We should add feedback to the end of this path, for example. So here we are. We got a 200 response. The response is fine, but it didn't update the number of cards. So let's go to the view. Let's say print n and see if new cards per day. Okay, n is 10. So deck subscription, new cards per day equals n. N is 10. This is an integer field, default 5. Save. So if we come back here, how come this is 5? Deck subscription.objects.all. dot values n cards per day. Okay. Not n, new. 10. Oh, careful. Self dot refresh from DB. That's what we need. Copilot knows it. That works. Good. So now we have this thing unit tested. Let's modify this URL. I don't like this. Let's say card slash this slash action. So we have this kind of comment. And now we will need to update the tests. Which test is going to fail? The one that is going to dislike here. Dislike is not going to work because this is going to be slash card slash like slash card slash dislike slash card slash clear. And then we're going to come back to this one here that was failing. So this, what happens now? N cards 1 to 4 39. How come this is failing? What is this? Check stats, test numbers, slash stats. What the hell? Oh man, what if I'm going to undo this thing and leave it as a to do, and I'm going to undo the last changes and leave this thing. Okay, now let's test this thing. Everything is working. Why a change in URL changes that other thing? I don't understand. Does stats slash still pass the tests? No. Okay. So now we had to comment this test here because it was not working. Let's test everything. And now we have this error. And the problem is that we're encoding this thing. We modified our code here in the comment to read a JSON instead of reading the post. So if we, instead of doing this, we did comment equals request.post get comment. If we did that, the test should pass. Interestingly, this other thing is failing. The JSON should comment this thing. And that is working. The problem is that in the study, in the post, we were setting this JSON stringify. So let's see how we can send this code. Send comment as post data. Stringify without JSON. This is not what we want. So if we start this thing here, show answer, and we do this, it says, thank you for your feedback. But if we come here to the comments, it didn't, this one, it didn't pick it up, I think. So if I print hello, send, it didn't pick it up. So how to encode data in fetch? Okay. Post headers form body. So let's have here the let form data. Body form data. Does that exist? Is that something? Is form data something? Oh, wait. Send. No, form data is not something. So here what we should do is, this is a list, an array. So we would do okay, that's what we want to do. In fact, let's say form data equals this thing here. Oh, there's even not a join. So let's make this is the body. So let's see if this is actually true. Is it true? No. Comment equals this thing. Push join. Okay, because it's not content type, is not application JSON. It is actually this xform whatever. Is that true? Yes, it's true. Okay, so now tests are passing. So let's, well, we have so many things going on that let's leave the commit for later. Okay, so all the tests are passing, which is good. Now, this to do here, card slash action. So now the test should fail. And now if I go to these tests and I say I find the like and the dislike, it should be card slash like. And it should fail in a different place. Card slash dislike, card slash clear. 2 failures, 1 failure. Good. Now 663. Comment card slash comment. And now 672 card slash comment. Okay, so we fixed these tests, but now this is not going to work either. So we need to send the like or dislike or the action or whatever this is called. This is going to be, instead of this, it's going to be card slash action. And we can test it here by liking this one. This is the POSIX path, pure POSIX path. If we go to the feedbacks, pure POSIX path, it's positive. If we make it negative, that's a dislike. So this is working. Now we can test. Everything is working. Let's commit everything. Fix tests. Deck subscriptions work in progress. And let's push this. We want to not lose anything. So where we were, the beginning of all of this path, let's try to get in touch with where we were. The important thing that we've added today is this deck subscription tests where we can change the number of cards that we want per day. Okay, so that is the good thing. Then tailwind fade out. Is that something that we can do? Okay, animate fade. Animate fade. Okay. How can you change the time? You may create your own animation with config file. 5 seconds. So if you say 1 second, how do you config? Never mind. I don't want to create like a new thing. So maybe with this, is that better? Fade out, fade in, fade in, fade out. Okay, that's better. Fade out, fade in. Okay, I might want to use this because I would like to, once you change some feature, I like to have like a check saying changed. But maybe later. So that's some eye candy for the site. Okay, so now we have a way to update the number of cards per day, but we are not using it in the front end. Okay, so how can we use this in the front end? On change, is that something? On change. Input number, let's say on change alert this dot value. Is that even something? 5. That's something. So on change, we could try to fetch. Who do we want to fetch? We want to fetch slash session.slug slash deck slash deck.id slash question mark new cards per day equals, and now we can take this as one of these formatted strings. Sorry, not here, but here. And here we put the dollar this dot value. So here, if we check the network for this thing, we clear everything and we, no, not here, but we refresh this page and now we say, okay, 5. Five, 6, 7, 8. And this is working. Let's go to admin and let's register this thing. We need to import a deck subscription. And now we register this thing below the deck. So wherever the deck is, admin.register deck subscription it is not working because it doesn't have deck subscription. We could have ID, user, deck, no, session is not, that's not a thing. New cards per day is a thing. Deck subscriptions, and here we have these two, 8 cards per day, 5 cards per day. If we say give me more, we have more. If we say give me less, we have less. That's good. That's good. So the new cards per day, this could apply for the next day. This could apply for the next day. Or do we want to make it apply for today? For now, we can assume that this is going to apply for tomorrow, and we should give this information to the user, but that would save us some work now. Now let's go for the following thing, these buttons here. So what does start, pause, purchase mean? What does start, pause, purchase mean? Is purchase the word? Is purchase the correct word? Why purchase? It could be learn, right? Something like that. So we could say active. We could also say active or learning, and then you could pause. So, and then, so the point is the ones that you currently are enrolled on, or you could also have a word like enrolled, or we could have two tables, right? For each of these things, we could have two tables. So we could have like active decks and then inactive decks. So you could pause, or you could say your decks. So we could split this table in two, right? So we could have decks that you're learning. Do we want to do this? Maybe yes, maybe not. Your decks. I don't want to duplicate all of the table. Like I don't want to have two tables, but also, do we need a pause button, or this just means 0 cards? Okay, we have to set a minimum here too. Max 20, min equals 0. So if you do this, then it is paused. So you could have learning, new cards per day. Pum, 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 pum. Progress, start. This tag, I don't like that we have it. Like I don't want, like if we already paid for it, what need is there to still put this tag on there, right? There's all these Stripe checkout things that we will need to configure and so on. So I want to make this as simple as possible. When I launch this, probably I'll have like 1 or 2 free decks and 1 paid deck. So let's see. Okay. Once you have this deck here, and you are actively learning, there's nothing else that you can, there's not much more that you can do, right? Just modify the new cards per day. If you put the new cards per day to 0, then this is paused. So and that works. You don't want to progress in this card, and then so the pause thing, we can forget about it. We'll forget about it. Right? So, and the start and the purchase, we can forget about that too. So let's forget about these things here. The start and the whatever. Let's forget about this thing. 1 second. Okay. New cards per day. Progress. Okay. And the coming soon and all these things. Okay, so for the coming soon, you don't need the new cards per day. So I think we're definitely going to split this into 2 tables. Because the new cards per day doesn't apply to this thing here. So let's modify this thing. So here we have new cards per day. So let's have a title. Here you will have this div that has this thing. And here let's have h2 dex currently learning. Terrible name, but other dex. Okay, so here we can have some classes, right? Let's have some class equals text lg text to excel text left font bold margin white 12 other text. Okay, so that's one thing, and then there's the text that you're currently learning, and here what we're going to do. Okay, so these are the texts that you're currently learning. You might say, okay, margin bottom is 12, for example, or nothing. Margin is nothing, because we already have some. No, wait. What did I do? This one is the one that dex currently learning. I don't like these words, but okay. So here we have some margin bottom 8. It's a healthy margin. Okay. Margin bottom 24, and this one has margin bottom 8. It's trying to be a bit more consistent. The table margin bottom didn't work because I didn't put it in the right place. This was 8, and this is where we want the margin bottom 24 or 12. No, what did I do? Here is a 24. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Anyway, enough with the spacing. So here we need to put the other dex. And here we want to put the ones where you have a subscription or where you don't have a subscription, right? So here is where we need to add this logic of the subscriptions you have and so on. So let's go to the views, cards views. This is a pretty big functionality that we're trying to build today. So this will take some hours in the end. Let's close this thing and so we see the code. Okay. So we're in the session detail view, and here we added the decks, but we don't actually want to add the decks. We want to add the deck subscriptions, right? So get deck subscriptions. First, we want to create, so let's say deck subscriptions, and now we're going to do this thing where we're going to do for deck in all of this, deck subscription, get or create, that's exactly what we want to do, user equals self object user, deck equals deck 0. So now we have the deck subscription, and this is not working anymore because we don't have this thing. And now what we're going to do is in here, instead of deck index, we're going to do for ds in deck subscriptions. And now we can say with deck equals ds.deck. I don't know if that's how you do the with and with. Does that work? Okay, that's better. So now we have all this deck stuff that we still see. But then the issue is, okay, what's with the active subscriptions, right? So let's make it a different way. Active deck subscriptions. Other decks. Let's rephrase this as this. So let's filter these things, right? So ds for ds in here if ds.active. Now let's go this way. Okay. So this way we have this here, and we need to add the active here. So now what's going on here is that when we created this, so the deck subscriptions, none is active, right? We didn't set them as active. We could set this one as active, save, and now we have this guy here, and then we could have the nomenclator as active too. Let's click here, active, save. Okay. So the issue is, when do we create the deck subscriptions? Should we create it here, and if it's free, we should enroll the user directly? I don't think you should be enrolled directly. So what should happen, but what is fine, is that you create the subscription. If we don't have it, you could create it. So And we also want to have like a streak. How many days? This is something we also want to have. Current streak. We want to have this too, right? So three days. This is a to-do, of course. Of course, this is a to-do. Okay. So now the thing is, here we have this DEX. So we were wondering, what do we want to do with the DEX subscriptions? When do we want to create them, right? So the question is, we could create one if it doesn't exist. We could create one if it doesn't exist and have it not active. Did I set the default cards, models? Active is false by default. So we could keep it as not active. That's a good thing. So here we could say create deck subscriptions if they know not exist. So for deck index, that's it. Now the active deck subscriptions are these, where you objects dot filter and you filter user active true, and that's it. Order by deck order. That's cool. So this way we have the active deck subscriptions, and then we want to have all the other decks. Other decks. Filter false. That's cool, because now we have other deck subscriptions ordered by deck order for these users that are not active. So active equals false. So now here in the study, we're going to, now we need to modify a lot of HTML. So let's copy all of this table, right? And we're going to, but we realize that these two tables are going to be quite different. Because, for example, so here we could say, well, we could call it inactive deck subscriptions, right? Or it's another way, more descriptive way of calling this. Okay, and now we have these things. So now here, let's make this one pathlib in depth. Let's make it inactive too. Okay, now we have it here. So now all of this free thing coming soon and so on, we don't want it. We might want, in fact, the current streak, deck, current streak, progress, new cards per day. So now here we have the deck. We remove all of these things, all of these labels we don't want. Then the 3 days we do want. And then these buttons we remove. And then here we have this stuff. So let's see. Current streak, progress, new cards per day. And somehow it seems, yeah, this looks good. And this is a table auto, and this looks very good. Nomenclature, that's what we have. Okay, very good. And now here, this is different. So now all of this inactive stuff, we forget about that. And all the progress stuff, we forget about that. So instead of progress, for the second table now. So we are now on the second table, down here. We can say cards. And the cards, instead of the progress, we just want to have here deck card set count 0, 1, 0. Okay, then all of this, if it is ready, if it's not ready, coming soon, and so on. So we want to remove this input altogether. New cards per day, that's something we don't need either. Current streak, we don't need either. These buttons we do need. 3 days we don't need. These buttons we do need. And this stuff here. So now the price, we have the deck, we have the price. We could comment it here. Price. The cards and the actions. We could put the cards before the price. The price and the action. And the action, so we have this number of cards here. So it's the title and the description. Then we have this thing here. So we have the cards. Deck ready. We don't want to make it gray anymore. So this is one card. Then we have the price. And then there's this start and purchase. So the price, we could have it in a single button, right? So we could, instead of purchase, let's forget about this. And let's say start learning for deck.price. Okay, so this button start learning for this. I don't like that it's too bold, maybe semi-bold. Is that something? Start learning for, I don't know, but bold I guess makes sense. Just find it too big, right? So the price, if it's ready, we show the price, otherwise we show coming soon. That's what we can do here. So if it's coming soon, it's coming soon. We cannot do anything about it. You cannot buy it yet. And then the price, if it's ready, it's free. Yeah, what about if it's free, right? So here let's make this one inactive too. So this one is free. Free, coming soon. Start learning. So the thing is that Stripe, checkout, card. So how do you manage all of this with Stripe? Because if you want to add multiple things, so okay, check out one thing, that's great. But what if you want to add multiple things? So my question is, what happens if someone wants to, in the future, buy multiple decks? Subscription, how checkout works. How checkout works. One time. Checkout session. It can have multiple items, right? How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? Start learning for $9.99. Start learning for free. Now I'm starting to think about the buying these things, which I think is not a good idea. So what I'm going to do, sorry, is I'm going to do the following thing. So start learning will be a single button. And the free and this stuff, the price, I'm going to hide this thing. Let's hide it with an actual comment. So this is not even in the HTML. And then we're going to comment this thing. Okay, so this is settled, right? We're going to forget about the price for now, and we're going to implement this start learning button. So assuming everything is for free for now, which is not that crazy to assume, right? In fact, everything is free for now. so we have these things here. Here we can change. We can see the requests coming here. So this works. We refresh this thing. Oh, one thing. We refresh this thing and this is wrong. So we need to check the value. And the value is not 4. It's ds.new cards per day. replace this thing. This is 5. 9. Refresh this thing. This is 9. Forget about this autocomplete thing. Because now we're setting the right value. 8. Wait. 11. Let's keep it anyway, just in case. In case. Okay, so now this is 10. Okay, so if we want to start learning, we need to activate this deck subscription, right? So let's do it. It's interesting also that in models, we had this end reviewing, which was a user thing. So we could probably add it here, def end reviewing. So we have the user, we have the user, we have everything. So here maybe we could say, let's activate the nomenclature later. But in the study here, reviewing, instead of doing that, we could say, what if we say ds.endReviewing? It's still a 0, right? So that way, we can probably forget about this thing here. We don't need this. Cards extra, we don't need this. So let's leave that empty for now. And now we can even come here and remove this thing here from here too. So we didn't need that either. Now we have the deck subscription, which we have for every deck, for every user, and we'll pick information from there. So start learning. What we'll do is activate this card. Okay. So let's go to URLs again, and let's activate. Oh wait, this is not feedback. This is deck modify deck subscription, something like that. Let's format this thing too. I should enable auto formatting for all the Python files, but some other time. So here we have this thing. Let's activate. So let's run a test. Let's say def activate deck. So this should not be active. Assert false, or let's make it not active. So let's make this active equals false self dot. Because what is deck subscription? This is self dot deck subscription, self dot deck subscription, save. Let's run this test. As always, here activate test. I had this test script that runs every time you save, so let's run that. Okay, now it's failing. Why? This thing fails sometimes, I realized. That test fails sometimes, probably due to the cache or something. Anyway, if we act, if oh what no, what this should not pass because we haven't implemented this yet. Self dot. What, why do we have this thing? Test. The subscriptions test. Why is this? Oh, because this is not running. Test, activate deck. Okay, now this fails. Deck subscription. Okay, why do we have this deck subscription thing here? Okay, false is not true. 619. That's what we wanted to fix. So if we go to views and we are in the deck subscription view, if activate is in here, then we should just active equals true and save. So we changed this thing. Here it said active. Let's make activate true. Press this thing. Start learning. Oh, this is not. This is not run. This is not. But this is passing. Okay, so now we have a way to start learning some decks. In fact, we said that all free decks would be active by default. So all free decks that are ready are active by default. So that's something we should implement here too. Because here we created, in the join we did it. So if it's free and it's ready, it should be active. So here we could say ds underscore equals this. If created. If created and it's free and it's ready, then let's make it active. No, it should always be active if it's free and created. Isn't that right? Start learning. Okay. That will make it active by default. So if it's free and it's ready, it is active whenever it's created. So we could also delete all of this. Yes, I'm sure. And then if we refresh this page, everything is working again. Why is this one not active? Because we deleted this other one here. So I see the value in having a pause button because we can okay. Instead of currently learning, available decks. Let's have available decks and then other decks. Get more decks. So available decks are these ones here because some of them are free. This one is free, some other is purchased. Free premium. That's what the words we're looking for. So as you can see, this is like an iterative process. So I need to you need to think through these things until they make sense, right? So I've going back and forth of organizing things one way, the other way, but my goal is to have something that makes sense in the end, right? So one thing we could do is next to each deck, we can say if they were free or they were premium, right? So if one deck is active, once some decks are active, like the one in the nomenclature and so on, we can still say, if they are free or premium. Let's put this here, /td, and let's copy this thing here, the deck. Let's fix the indentation. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, so now this is free. Current streak. I don't know why. /td. Okay, so now this one is free, and otherwise it's premium. Instead of putting the price, let's put a premium tag. So premium tag. Okay, let's activate this thing, which is premium. Free. I want to say premium. What is the premium color? So what is the premium color? Blue. Are there any other yellow, right? Set solution. Okay, but premium, we have the coming soon. But I'll keep it. I like the yellow one. Tailwind colors. Let's see if there's some other than yellow. More like amber. Amber yellow. Okay, what's the issue now? Okay, amber. If you can spot the difference between amber and yellow, you have my respect. You have my respect. You could have orange too, which is, I like amber better. Okay, so we have the amber thing. So this one is free, this one is premium. Now, I like this. And now in the new cards per day, new cards per day, new cards per day. Now the question is, do we want to really activate any other free deck that we have added? I don't think so. So when you log in, that's one thing. But when you... The last thing that I did, this cards, views, this modification that I did here, that we, if created and ready and free, just activate it. Let's not do that. So now, available decks. Instead of available, that's when I changed for available. Instead of available, let's say currently learning decks or learning decks. Get more decks. Learn more decks. So these are your learning. Now, Some are premium, some are free. Okay. Now, you might want to pause them, right? So the new cards per day, cards per day, you might want to pause them, I think. So here we could say pause button. Not if ready. We just want to pause them. Why are we not seeing this? Oh, because this is in the video. We want to have it next to the new card. Okay, here. Now, I don't know why this doesn't fit, because this should fit one thing next to the other. Border none. Let's put this inside the form, maybe. Okay, so it's either pause or... So it's pause or... What am I doing? And let's add some margin to the left. At least some spacing. Okay, so we don't want to actually click this form. So the pause button, what it should do is it should, and otherwise we could resume. So let's have this pause actually. Ready, active, post equals this Boolean field. Make migrations. Make migrations. Migrate. Default false. That's true. Okay, so now the question is whether this DS is paused. If it's paused, we're going to show a value of 0. In fact, the form is going to go up here. And this is, if it is paused, we show this thing here, and we show a button that says resume. Otherwise, we show this other thing, and a button that says pause. So if it is paused, if it's not paused. So what is going to, how are we going to implement this thing? Okay, we're going to test pause deck. If it's pause equals true, then we can say, you know, post equals false, post is true, right? So let's test this thing. It should fail. It fails. Let's implement this thing in the here. If pause, it's paused. If resume, then false. Let's test this thing. It passes. Let's go for the test again. Test pause. Test resume. We should definitely, or we could definitely refactor this code. It's true. So assert false post. Good. Good. we have this thing. We can pause it, or we can resume it. So now, what happens if it is paused? Let's pause this one here, for example. Paused. What happens then? Then this is hidden. We don't show new cards per day. Okay. And then if we want to resume, we can have more cards per day. Okay, so resume, pause. Beautiful. Now we need to click these buttons so they do something. So how do we prevent this default behavior of a button in a form? So here we could say on click. And here we have this fetch session deck / resume equals true. Is that true? Resume. It worked. And it refreshed the page, which is interesting because it's more or less what we wanted. More or less. It's one way of making this work. We pause it, it's paused. If you resume, it is resumed. Pause, pause, resume. Wait. Resume. Resume. Pause. Pause. Resume. Resume. It didn't work. Resume. Oh my God, I'll need to go back and check the video. This worked. This worked. This worked. This worked. Seems to be working. Pause, pause. Now it didn't work. Or am I crazy? I think we need to prevent the default. Event.prevent default. Stop the action event. I think we need to do this. I think event.prevent default. I think we need to do that. Because the problem is that we're running a fetch and then it's refreshing the page. So that's not correct. Resume. Resume. Pause, pause. Okay, now that makes sense. So that there was an issue actually there. So the problem is that we're not refreshing the page now. So we should probably refresh the page. Whenever the fetch is successful, right? Oof. Oof. So where is this fetch? I never remember this syntax. So fetch, 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 await, then fetch, 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 fetch. So this is like a await, fetch, or even without the wait, right? Then what? Reload. That's exactly what I want to do. Reload this thing. Resume. Resume. Pause. Wait, pause. Oh, pause is not implemented. So this thing here. Pause. pause. Okay. Resume, pause, pause, resume, pause, resume, pause, resume, pause, resume, pause. Okay, there's this thing where this logo is like huge for a few seconds, which I hate, but we'll fix it some other day. Okay. So we can resume and pause this thing. If we commit everything, we can now resume and pause a deck. Perfect. We can change the number of cards per day. We can pause it. We can resume it. We will keep going from wherever it was. And now the thing is, okay, this one is coming soon. Let's check the colors. What could we have for coming soon? We could have stone, right? Coming soon. Let's have stone. Stone color. Let's rebuild this tailwind thing. How come we don't have stone? Why is stone not working? Is it not working? 300. Oh no, it says it's too light. So what did they say now? 300. Let's see, 200. My screen is so bad that I don't see the colors. Right, I need to do something like that to actually see the colors. So coming soon, we could make it pink, fuchsia, purple. Coming soon. Pause, resume. Resume should be green, in my opinion, or emerald. Resume should be green or emerald. Emerald, emerald. Background emerald 400. Oh. Emerald. That's something different. So let's make it 200, 300. Resume. Pause. Resume. Pause. Resume. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we can pause, we can resume, change the number of, we have the progress, and we have this. For the ones that are coming soon, something weird here. This is like the bottom. Coming soon. Coming soon. We don't want this margin top, definitely. That was something weird we had. Probably because we copied this label from somewhere else. So we got this coming soon. So some might be coming soon, some might be paid, right? So we could have the price. We have the price here. We have the price here. Let's put some price for this built-in deck. Oh, this one is 0.01. So this one is actually paid, right? The built-ins. So let's see why we're not displaying that. If deck.ready, oh, if they are coming soon, we don't have the price. So let's make that deck ready. Ready, save. Okay, 0.01. Start learning. Okay. So the price, Price Waterhouse Cooper. So what is the price? The price, we have it here. It's free. If it's free, okay. Let's put the price. If it's ready, we have the price. Let's put this here. Let's just join these two things. And the start learning, actually, let's put it. So this, if it's ready, else it's coming soon. So, okay, this works, coming soon. And then if it's ready, we actually want to start. Copy this thing here, copy this thing here, and put this thing here. So start learning. So if we come here and there's one that is free, what did we decide? That we're going to make it automatically part of this thing or not? We decided not. We're not going to automatically. So you might have a free one that you start learning immediately. Okay, so you pause, resume, start learning. Okay. So now, what happens if you need to pay for this guy, right? What happens if you need to pay for this guy? Let's think 1 second about this. I think the decision for now is to not care about the price. So today we're not going to implement any kind of purchasing thing with Stripe or anything. So let's forget about that for now. We could create a new one that is free, that is ready, but doesn't matter. So if you might have already realized also that this is not working. So we have not tested all of this functionality. We're just like playing around with it, but we don't have like proper unit tests of all of these things we're doing, which is not ideal. Okay, it's not ideal. But anyway, so let's count how many things I want to add to this thing. So there's two things that we need to do. One thing is to take into account all of these settings when we create the sessions for the user. So here we're saying, okay, we want 5 new cards, 10 new cards. Okay, that's perfect, but we don't take this into account here when we create the study. So that is something that we need to do. The second thing is that we need to make this thing responsive. So if we make this like a mobile phone number, imagine that, I mean, most of the time you will be reviewing this from your phone number, right? From your smartphone. So this definitely doesn't work. We need to make this thing responsive. How do we make this thing responsive? So one way is to hide some stuff, and the other way is to add some breaks or whatever. So how do we do this? I never remember. I've done responsive stuff with Bootstrap and so on. So Tailwind responsive. So how do you do a proper responsive design? How do you hide something? So for example, hidden, I think hidden is a good class. Tailwind, hidden, visibility, display, display and hide. So block, inline, hidden, and inline. Invisible, but still maintain space in the DOM. We don't want invisible. We want hidden or block. So one thing we could do, tailwind call span. Is that something that we can? No, we cannot control that. So we could have this table. Let's try to make this thing responsive. Okay. So one thing we could do, because we need to do this. We need to do this. So let's copy this thing twice. It's terrible, but we need to do it, I think. And now let's have this thing. Class equals hidden. So if it's hidden, we don't see it. But let's hide it in empty. So whenever this goes bigger, suddenly, so here, it's still too small. Here, it's kind of big enough. Okay, so empty. So this thing is hidden in MD, and this other one needs to be hidden by default and block. Is that what it is? Is it a block? No, what is the kind of inline display? What is the display of a row? Is this a row, table row? Table row, is that what this is? So this way we are always seeing the same thing, but we're displaying one and hiding the other. Okay. So now this one is the one that is displayed for the big one. And this one is the one that is displayed when you are small. So when you're small, there we are. Okay, so now, first thing we need to do, I think we need to put the tag next to the name, for sure. And this one, we can say call span equals 5. So this one spans all the way. So here we could have a new line that could say current streak 3 days in a paragraph. Oh, this is another thing we need to manage, the current streak. Probably the way to manage it is to forget about it. So all of this thing, well, even call span, we can forget about it because we can remove all of these things. Okay, so now we have the current streak, progress, slash p, and then we can say, okay, new cards per day. And this could be in line. In line. If that works. Okay. So now we need to remove this TD also. Well, no, this TD is closed. So we only have one cell now. The only thing that I don't understand is why this thing goes to a new line. So let's make it display inline block. No. Still no. Block. Oh, wait. New cards per day. /p. /p. Maybe now? No. Definitely not. Five cards per day. 5 new cards per day. Why is this not working? Oh, it is working here. Okay. Okay. Form P. Move this thing here. 0 new cards per day. Okay, maybe, yeah, we need a P to add some. So we have a paragraph to have some more spacing. So here we could say, okay, we want to make this like a small. This is how small it is for a phone. What is this? What is the popular phone? iPhone 375. So here we have this deck, which is path leap in depth, premium, current strike 3 days, progress. We don't have implemented the current streak, so let's hide that. Let's hide the current streak. Progress 0, 0, 1, 3. These cards per day. Pause and resume. So this pause and resume, we could put in a new paragraph. And remove the margin. I mean, we need to do it. We need to do it. And the resume and the pause. I guess we need to do the same. Remove this thing. Add this paragraph here, actually. No. Cards per day, add the paragraph, button. Paragraphs, closing a paragraph is optional in HTML5, theoretically. So you could pause and resume 5 new cards per day. These new cards per day. I mean, how atrocious is that? It fits in the screen, but it's not beautiful. Oh my god. It's atrocious. It's horrible. I hate it. I hate it. Resume. Oh my god. New cards per day. Okay. New cards per day. It's atrocious. Let's add some space. Let's remove this text. Let's remove this paragraph. Come on. Try to make it fit. Resume. Pause. We had ML2. Let's have ML1 and ML1. So a little bit of space. And then let's remove some padding, right? We are on a phone. We can remove some padding here. Need to make these buttons small. Pause. Resume. Font. Thin. Or text small. Let's make the text smaller. Text small. That's different. And the font, does it really need to be bold? Pause. Let's make it bold because we have it bold, but let's do that. So the text is small. Maybe even the input has the text small. Text small. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Class, blah, blah, blah. Text small. Okay. Now, funny thing, the click, on click, all of this thing, we need to put it somewhere else, right? In fact, we need to put it into the name. So we could have like a paragraph that has all of these things. So now, oh, and the premium, but the premium goes also in the same paragraph. Okay, so all of these things should go inside the paragraph. So anyway, the point is that you have this triangle and so on inside the paragraph, and now you click here, and funnily enough, what happens? Because there's two IDs now, so we should make, oh no, there's a single one. There's a single one. Okay. Okay. So the other thing, so now, I mean, it's not atrocious. It's still bad, but it's not that bad. So now when this gets bigger, suddenly it moves. Oh, what about the deck? So I messed this thing up. I just realized. So if we undo all of these things, we need to get back all of this head. This is the head. Okay, let's redo everything. And save. Now, there's two heads here, either the long one and the short one. So the long one is hidden, and in MD, it is, I don't know, table row, maybe table row head. And the other one is MD hidden. So if we refresh this thing, what's the display? Table row, table column, table cell. Okay. Instead of doing that, let's remove all of this and put this here in the TR. Class MD hidden. So now, if we want to make this responsive, Now we have the deck. Even we could have the decks. No, decks. Even we want to remove this, right? We don't need a head because we already, or maybe we want to have an empty head. So we have some line because these are the learning decks. When we have something as a table, we want the table heads. Okay, so this is getting responsive. It's a little bit responsive. Now, pause, resume. I think we want to make this text also small for the other buttons, like the large buttons. Pause, resume. I just modified the same ones again. So this one could be text small here. We want to make it also small here. And we want to make these buttons start learning. Let's make this one also text small. Okay. So pause, resume, resume, pause, pause, resume, resume. Beautiful, beautiful. And this one here, deck, cards, start learning. We could also have the premium here. So the cards, okay. Learn more, learning decks, learn more decks. So I think we could have a check also here, like the decks that we're learning and so on. We'll have to, so this, as you can see, this view is like very rich. There's many things that we need to do to get this like fully working. I want to make it fully working. I want to make it easy to understand and so on. Let's spend some more minutes making this thing down here responsive. So using the same trick that we did before. I'm not super happy that all of this stuff is in the study HTML. Like this, it's getting pretty big already. But anyway, so the head. In the head, we have this thing here, and we're going to use a very simple approach, a very similar approach here. So all of these th are the ones that we want here, the big, like in the big one. Let's remove this thing here. And then we have the hidden one. So this is like the big one, the hidden one. What happens in the hidden one? So in the hidden one, we want to, again, this class is hidden md table row. So now we have this thing that appears and suddenly disappears. And then we want to have this one that is tr class equals md hidden slash tr, and we have a single cell, right? And this cell will have probably some of this stuff. Oh, some of these classes. Okay, so now what do we have here? Same thing as before, actually. So we're going to copy this paragraph from here. In fact, we could even copy the same thing. We could copy the same thing because we want, I thought that we might want to have this premium. tag to. So we don't have this premium tag, but we could have this premium tag too. Premium free. So here it says the price, but it doesn't say premium. Start learning. Start learning. If there's a price, deck.price different to 0, then for deck.price with a dollar and if. Even the for span class font in span. Does that work? Font thin. Thin. Font weight. Font thin. Probably don't have like a proper. Oh no, that's it's working. So let me. It's clearly too thin. So font normal and font medium and font semi-bold. So font normal. For 0.99. Start learning for 0.99. What looks cool. So now I think we want to have the same, a single. We want to have the deck and we want to have the premium, and then we want to have this if it's premium or if it's free. We should put this hierarchy here. So okay, so these are premium, start learning for 0.01. If the price is 0, if premium, well, and there's the coming soon. I've made so many circles implementing this thing. If that dog ready, else coming soon. So now why am I seeing this? Oh, because this is exactly what we want to do, but here. So it's kind of, if it's free, if ready. Wait. Okay. So if it's ready, it's coming soon. Instead of the price, let's put the premium tag. Otherwise, it's free. Okay, so that's a difference. We want to say premium, coming soon. Now, this other one here with the price, we remove. Okay. Cards. Cards. Start learning. Let's put the cards before. As we're going to do, because it's kind of like the title makes more sense. So this is premium, this is coming soon. Okay. And now when we make, so this is fine. Now when we make these things small, we have this premium, and now the premium, this is not right. This is premium or coming soon. So the premium or coming soon, which is this thing here, that's what we want to put here. It's premium or coming soon. And also, we want to put the number of cards in here. This, but we forget about this. Okay. Come on, let's pluralize this thing. Pluralize deck.cards set.count. Is that how that works? Pluralize, humanize. Humanized because you need to have it installed, I think. Django.contrib.humanize, if I'm not wrong. Pluralize. How does that? It's a filter. So let's find pluralize. So this is like this. Okay, pluralize. So here it says one card. That's what they wanted. So, but let's make sure in common, if I remove this thing, this doesn't work. Yeah, we need to add this. So now, this deck here, it says premium, it says one card. Let's find the coming soon. Well, both. Let's find the pluralize thing. Let's have the deck name, cards. It's at one space. The premium coming soon. And now we wanted the button. So we're missing the button. So here, this button that we have here, if deck ready, we want to add it too. Probably inside a paragraph, or depends. Okay, so now, yeah, let's add some margin top, at least margin top 3. What is wrong? Let's just add a bar. Okay. Start learning for 0, 0, 1. And this paragraph here, we need to make it a pointer. Class equals cursor pointer. And now this is working. Okay. Well, it took some time, but if you have an iPhone 11 Pro iOS 14.6, you can see this thing. You can see this thing. A tour of the standard library. 0 cards. Oh my God. So make study deck tables responsive. So we have completed this second one of the two things that were missing. Okay, so now these tables are responsive. So when you zoom in, this looks better, this looks good. And when you zoom, you have this small screen. You can still see some stuff. We could also argue if this is too wide. It's fine. Come on. Okay. So this is responsive. What is the last thing we wanted to implement? Last thing. There's never a last thing. You know, they say 90% of the project is 90% of the time to implement, and the other 90%, the other in the rest 10% of the project you need to implement the other 90%. So you always have more things to build, but no, not this time. Not this time. Today, now we have a way of pausing or resuming the learning of one deck. So that's important. When you log in the first time, you will probably start with two decks, like the Pathlib or a couple free decks. You will start with those two. And you say, okay, this is too much. Just pause it. It's same as having 0 cards per day, or resume it. Then you can change the number of cards per day. So the first day you join Python.cards, you say, oh my God, I take 5 cards, it's very easy. I need more. So you start to take this number up, okay, 15. And then after 3 or 4 days, you have a bunch of new cards, a bunch of review cards. You take this number down to 5 again, until you find like the perfect trade-off. But there's one thing we need to do. We need to apply this config to the daily study. How do we do that? Right now, when we're creating a study, we're not taking into account anything about the decks. We just pick some cards at random, kind of, or in order, but we don't care which decks they are in. So that is something that we need to fix. How do we fix this? The model that we're talking about is this model session. So the session, which is like the daily review session, has this add new cards function, with this constant new cards per day. That's what we need to remove. Then it checks if there are available new cards, which, okay, that's fine. We should probably refactor this to add. So add new cards would have like get new cards and so on. Never mind, I'm just thinking out loud. So the point is, there's different ways to implement this, and I had thought about this some time. So one way is to actually like do the thing. What do I mean with that? If you are active in this deck, you add cards for this deck. If you're not active, you don't. If you're active for these decks, you add cards from these decks. If you're not active, you don't. Another way is to add cards for all decks. And then you hide the ones that you don't need. And another way that I'm thinking is to kind of make everything completely dynamic. So when you enter here, you find how many cards you have reviewed today, if they were new cards, and then you decide if you need to do anything for the day or not. The other thing is that you could have these extra buttons once you're done, where you say 5 more cards, 5 extra cards, 5 extra cards. I think this is enough for today. So we have coded quite a bit. Let's leave it here for the day, and some other time we will come back and implement this feature. So just to summarize what we have been working today, which was a pretty long coding session. We could check the GitHub to see all of the changes. But basically, we have worked on this view here. We can pause and resume the learning of some decks. We can choose the number of cards we want to learn. This is actually calling the backend. We can display the details of each deck, and we can have also learn more decks and start learning. This is a to-do. We need to still move from start learning to do we really? I think this is not real. This is not true. So start learning is actually could be a fetch of this in the same way that we're doing this thing here. Resume, start learning. We could have this thing here where we on click, we activate, and we reload. So if we start learning, what happened? Start learning, click, 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 click. Oh, this is probably the responsive button. So if we make this responsive, well, let's not make this responsive. Let's copy this to the other start learning, which is here. So now if we run this here, okay, we still have some extra T head around. Okay, start learning, and it's active. So we just activated one deck. Maybe we want to make it to pause it. So okay, that is working again. So recover the or make start learning button work. Okay. So the point is, now we need to think a little bit. Today we implemented all these features. We have all this view for seeing all the decks, configuring how many cards, pausing and resuming. We have the list of new decks. When you join, you're enrolled or you get added to all the free decks that are ready, and you can start learning them by default. Of course, you can pause them if you don't want, and so on. We added some tests to check that all this functionality works, and that is cool. And we made this view responsive. So, like this. It's small, it's big. So, the next step is to actually use this configuration. So we want to make the daily study configurable according to all of these values. So if you want to learn only 5 new cards per day of this deck, that's what we're going to configure in your session. And I think this we're going to implement with a lot of unit tests. So we can test that pretty well. We're going to have some change I think we want to make this as dynamic as possible. So whenever you access the session, that's when cards are added. So cards are added even before the session, because when you before you start. So when you get an email saying how many cards you're going to learn today, that's good. But then we need to make it dynamic, because you can configure how many cards do you want to learn per day. You can learn extra cards. So I think here we will have a summary of the learning session for today. So you will have one new card, one card to review for the different decks that you have. Then when you finish, you can say, okay, give me n more cards or 5 more cards for each deck, or 5 more cards for one deck. So we will make this configurable. I will think a little bit about how to implement this, and probably the next day we will give it a go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to the channel and to the waitlist of Python cards. Bye bye, and see you some other time.